She drove past that shelter 4 times before she finally pulled in, not because she was lost, because she kept changing her mind. And at the very end of the last kennel row, a 115-pound Bernese Mountain Dog was sitting in the corner, not barking, not hoping, just waiting. Neither of them knew that afternoon would change everything. Rachel Calloway was 31 years old, recently out of a relationship that had lasted 6 years, living in an apartment that still had 2 coffee mugs on the shelf she hadn't moved yet. She had a stable job, she had good friends who called and checked on her. She told them she was fine. She was not fine. She was not looking for a dog. She was not ready for a dog. She walked into Millbrook Road Rescue on a Wednesday afternoon in February because she told herself she was just looking. The first room had puppies. She walked past them. The second room had cats. She kept walking. At the far end of a narrow hallway, past a row of kennels that smelled like concrete and antiseptic, she stopped. He was sitting in the back corner of the last kennel, not pressed against the door like the others, not barking, just sitting there with the quiet resignation of something that had learned to stop expecting much. Black and white and brown, with a face so wide and soft, it looked like it had been designed specifically to be pressed against a person's chest. His name on the kennel card was Bear. He was a Bernese Mountain Dog, 14 months old, 115 pounds. The intake notes were short. Previous owner moved abroad, unable to take him. No history of aggression, no behavioral issues. Reason for surrender, circumstances changed. Rachel stood at that kennel for a long time. Bear looked at her once, then he looked away. She asked the volunteer if she could go in. The volunteer opened the gate without a word. Rachel sat down on the concrete floor. Bear didn't move toward her. He didn't move away. After a few minutes, he turned his head and looked at her again. Then he walked over slowly, lowered his enormous head, and placed it on her knee. Neither of them moved for a while. She filled out the paperwork 40 minutes later. The volunteer asked if she had experience with large breeds. Rachel said no. The volunteer handed her a folder about Bernese Mountain Dogs and wished her luck. Bear walked to her car like he already knew where they were going. The first week was nothing like she expected. She had imagined a sad, broken dog who needed to be coaxed back to life. What she got was a 115-pound animal who had apparently decided the grief period was over and it was time to get on with things. He claimed the left side of the bed on the first night and did not move from it. He knocked over her laundry basket on day 2 while attempting to follow her into the bathroom and looked entirely unbothered by the mess. He discovered her collection of throw blankets on day 3 and redistributed them across the couch in an arrangement that left room for approximately 1 human elbow. Rachel laughed for the first time in 2 months on day 4. Bear had gotten his head stuck briefly in a tote bag and was walking through the living room wearing it like a hat, completely undisturbed, heading toward his water bowl. Every morning that first week, she woke up not quite sure where she was. Then she felt the weight against her legs, heard the slow breathing beside her, and remembered Bear was there. She had never had anyone wait for her like that before. She hadn't realized how quiet the apartment had been until it wasn't anymore. Here is something most people don't know about Bernese Mountain Dogs. They were originally bred in the Swiss Alps to work alongside farmers in extreme cold, pulling carts, herding cattle, serving as steadfast companions across long days on open land. They are not guard dogs in the traditional sense. They are bonding dogs. Their entire instinct is oriented toward one thing: staying close to the person they have chosen, not nearby, not in the same room, against, beside, on top of. Berneses do not understand the concept of too much. They were never built for it. Bear had chosen Rachel somewhere around the moment she sat down on the concrete floor of that kennel. She just didn't know it yet. I see you're still watching but haven't subscribed yet. That honestly stings a little. Hit subscribe. You'll want to see what comes next. 6 weeks after she brought him home, Rachel had a bad night, the kind that arrives without warning, settles in around 11 p.m., and makes everything that happened in the past 2 years feel like it is happening again all at once. She sat on the kitchen floor, because sometimes that is the only place that feels right. She did not cry loudly. She barely made a sound. Bear was asleep in the bedroom. She had not called him. She had not moved from where she was sitting. He came anyway. He walked into the kitchen, looked at her for a moment, and then lowered his entire 115-pound body onto the floor directly beside her. He pressed his side against hers and put his chin on her leg and stayed there without moving, without asking anything, without needing the situation to be anything other than what it was. Rachel sat on the kitchen floor with a Bernese Mountain Dog she had owned for 6 weeks, and something she had been holding for a very long time finally let go. Stories like these deserve to be heard. If this made you feel something, you're exactly who we make these videos for. She had brought him home because she felt sorry for him, because he had been left behind through no fault of his own, because she understood, at least a little, what it felt like when circumstances changed and you found yourself somewhere you hadn't planned to be. She had not expected him to understand the same thing about her. Bear is 2 years old now. He still takes up 2/3 of the bed. He still follows her from room to room with the dedication of someone who has been given an assignment and intends to complete it. He still greets her at the door every evening with a stuffed penguin named Gerald that he carries everywhere, but has never once chewed, presenting it like an offering each time as though she might have forgotten about Gerald during the 8 hours she was away. The 2 coffee mugs came down from the shelf on a Sunday morning in April. Rachel didn't plan it. She was making breakfast and Bear was watching her from his spot on the couch, chin resting on the armrest, tail moving slowly. She reached up, took them both down, and put them in the cabinet with the others. It wasn't a big moment. Bear didn't notice, but she did. Because the thing about dogs who have been left behind is this: they don't hold it against you. They don't arrive with conditions or hesitation or the memory of every person who walked away. They arrive with everything they have, and they give it completely, and they ask only that you stay. Rachel stayed. So did Bear. And sometimes that is the whole story. Would you have walked into that last kennel, or would you have kept walking? Tell me in the comments.